I am the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr, and you're watching thevog.net. It's a beautiful fall afternoon. I'm in Fort Pierce, Florida, Best Buy Polaris, and here with me is Jim, who's the owner. Jim, it's been a while. It's a pleasure to see you.
You too, Andy. You always do a good job at the Vog, and we do appreciate what you do for us. We always like to have you come visit our dealership. It gives us a sense of pride that victory is still earnest in your heart.
Well, thank you, Jim. That's very kind for you to say. And I guess we'll start up by saying, you're one of a handful of one of Victory's original dealerships. You've been in business how long here?
Well, we started in the Victory in '98, and our first bike come off the assembly line, July 4th. The first one to hit Florida was September, and from then we grew. Matter of fact, we have one of our original bikes still here that we never drove. We put it up, and every once in a while when the model years comes out, we bring it out, show the people what we come from back in '98 to the present day of what Victory has accomplished in the motorcycle business.
Now, what do you think has been some of the better things that Victory has done over the years to help them establish themselves as a major player in the motorcycle industry?
Victory's number one thing is they never cut corners on quality of their bikes. They would never lower the quality for a price point. They've always kept it number one in the quality, and of course your J.D. Powers and Associates will show you that the customer satisfaction of a Victory owner is higher than any other manufacturer on the market.
Okay. And how do you think that they've been able to pull that off?
Again, just building a quality product and standing behind the product that they serve with a great dealer network and people like you to support the brand.
Okay. Every region in the country, different bikes sell differently, depending on where you are, what market you're in. For the South Florida buyers, or the people down here in the Fort Pierce area, what are they looking at in terms of Victory motorcycles? What's hot here?
Well, see, we have now not just one demographic. We have three different demographics. Our newer riders like a bike like the Judge or the Highball with the high handlebars and the no saddlebag look, where we call them a daily driver. Our more mature audience, they like the Visions and the cross-country tours, where they have the luggage and the tour trunks and the stereos and the cruise controls. Now, we also have that middle-of-the-road person that wants some luggage but not the full-blown tour. They haven't got to that point. And then people, they usually fall into the Kingpin category, the new Boardwalk, where they can add and delete the bags as they needed them, or they can go either way with the bike, depending on their mood. So we actually had three different demographics. So there's not just one bike, and you can't just stock one bike. You have to stock all three of them in your dealership to get this full effect.
Well, I tell you, I'm looking at this Judge here, and I'm sure when you're watching this video, you're going to see that you've tricked this thing out. I mean, the first thing I'm noticing is that you put the mini-apes on here, and that's something that I know a lot of people have been asking to do. How has that changed the ride of the Judge?
Well, actually, it brings the handlebars back towards you. I didn't think I would like it in my older years at having my hands up, but actually it feels a lot better than people would realize. They'd have to sit on this bike to realize it. There's a few other things I've done to it. I put the tour seat on it to give it a little bit more backrest or support. And the bike is handling it. It's so much fun to drive. I'm at the state of my life. I have two bikes. I have this bike and I have the bike behind us, so we'll probably see later. But it is just pure enjoyment to run. We put the louder pipes on it, the sweat pipes, and the mini windshield. I just don't like the sand spray down here. But
yeah, living in South Florida, that can be an issue.
Yeah, and to me, it's just a wonderful bike. The horsepower and the weight ratio on this bike is a tremendous thing that you will really enjoy.
Okay, let's do a couple things here. First, if it's okay, I'd like to throw a leg over this.
Go right ahead.
In a previous video on the Judge, I know I commented, I'm a shorter rider. I was really bent over to ride it. Let me just see how this has changed. Now notice in the seat here, you put the touring seat on, it seems I'm a little bit further forward, where before I was...
You get a little more lower back support with the tour seat, and it gives the passenger that extra 2 or 3 inches of cushion. So when my daughter likes to ride with me, she wants this seat on it. I can't put the other seat back on.
The other thing I'm noticing with the mini-apes, I can reach the bars now. Before, I was humped over almost in a C position here. Now, this is much more of a cruiser riding position.
We have experimented intensely with the Judge and the different bars. This is one of the favorite bars, and also the pullbacks that you've probably seen in the earlier model RNS bikes that we put on this, which comes in chrome or in the blackout versions that brings the handlebars back. It seems like a lot of our customers like the handlebars further back than the aggressive riding style the Judge really has, where you're leaning a little bit more forward.
You mentioned you did some exhaust mods. What did you do on
this one here? We put a set of what we call sweat pipes, and the sweat pipes is a less baffled system that lets the bike breathe a little better. And when you do this, you reprogram your CPU to match it, and also you have to open up your air box so you have more air coming in because you're releasing more air, and then you have to exchange your filter to a free-flowing K&N filter. So it's a complete package, which they call a Stage 1 performance kit.
Now, I already heard this. This thing sounds amazing. Howard, if I step off to the side, why don't you crank her up? Let's hear what she sounds like.
All right.
And I'll step over here with the microphone. It sounds great. People are definitely going to hear you coming on that.
It's a NASCAR sound. It sounds like a full-blown fuel-injected NASCAR motorcycle. And yes, they will hear you when you come down the road with this one.
Okay. No, but she's a beauty. This seat, though, I got to tell you, it's amazing between the seat and the bars how you have transformed the Judge into something that was more kind of a cafe racing type of riding position to something that's definitely more cruiser.
Well, I've been doing this for 15 years with Victory, and what I have found out that everybody purchases a motorcycle turns it into their motorcycle. You won't see two of them alike. There'll be another person that comes in here and might like a certain part of this, but they'll change the other parts of it. And that's what makes motorcycling great, because you go to a rally or to an event and you'll see three Judges and none of them look alike after you sold it to them, because they have their personal touch on it. It's not even clear down to the paint job. So that's why I enjoy motorcycling so much. You'll see the personality of the owner come out in their own bikes.
Well, now, to change gears a little bit, so to speak, you know, we're now coming up, or we're right now starting the South Florida riding season. I mean, just this week, the humidity went away. Right. As soon as Hurricane Sandy was swept through us, it also took the humid air with it, and it's gorgeous out. You're starting to see a lot of bikes get out. When people are traveling down here, any issues with them coming in for service, or you have anything you want to talk about on that?
Well, what we do here is a lot of people like to service their own vehicles. And if you bought a dealership that you really don't get to see their service department, you can bring your bike to our service department and we'll show you what a service actually is. You will even let you help if you prefer. So you can come and bring your bike. We'll show you what the service is like. If it's the first time that you arrive here, not if you bought it here or not, it doesn't matter. We will give you a 10% discount on the service, okay? Plus go over it with you so you'll know what to do, and you'll know if they checked your bike. If you don't want to do your own service, you'll know what they should have done, okay? And your bike will be in top-notch condition.
You know, you bring up a good point, because a lot of people are talking about when you first get your motorcycle, when you go in for your first 500-mile check, that's the most important service on it, because it's a lot more than just changing the oil. Would you agree with that?
Oh, most definitely, because these motorcycles are brand new and they test them at the factory before we get them, but they're not tested on the road. And once you ride a motorcycle for 500 miles, there's a lot of things that we physically check that you would not even imagine to do so. It could be a nut or a bolt in a certain location. It could be the adjustment of your clutch. It could be the adjustment of the brake pads. Sometimes if the brake fluids are just a little full, and when they heat up, actually put your brake on just a little bit and people don't notice it, and you're wearing out your pads and you're wondering what's going on. Well, someone didn't check the proper amount of fluid. You must ride these bikes, heat them up to temperature, make sure that they're in a proper position in the fluid height, or you run into issues. But this is what we do, okay? And this is, like I said earlier, if you want to come in, I will go over this with you, okay? I enjoy it. these are the things that you might miss, but later on that you'll enjoy, that have the knowledge that, yeah, this is the way it should be.
And that's what's great about, I've seen some dealerships are like mega stores, and I see others are like yours that are very personal. I'll take the personal service any day, because that way you come in, you're not a number, you're a person, and you have a specific bike with specific needs.
Without a doubt. And we like the experience. We've been here, like I said, for 15 years, so it doesn't matter if you own a 99 motorcycle, if you have one of the new 2013s. All our technicians are trained. We pride ourselves in knowing what your issue is. Some of the new dealers, they try real hard, but they haven't been seeing the last 4 or 5 years of bikes. They haven't seen the earlier bikes. So they doesn't have the experience. But even if your bike's in another dealership and they can't quite figure it out, you call me and maybe I can give them directions on how to do that. And all this is just because I want you to be happy with the motorcycle that you purchased.
Now, whether somebody lives in the area and they're looking for a new or pre-owned bike, or if they're traveling through the area, what's the best way to get in contact with you or the folks here at your dealership?
Well, we have our website, which is bestbuyvictory.com, that you can always get us on, or our phone number, which is 772-468-6888. And our address is at 3525 South US Highway 1, Fort Pierce, Florida. So any of the 3 ways, you can sure get a hold of us.
Jim, I want to take a moment to thank you very much for your time. When you're down here in the area, be sure to check out Best Buy Victory Polaris in Fort Pierce, Florida. For the VOG.net, I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr, and I'll see you on the road and online.